Okay, we are recording on the EOS R6 and we have the 85mm prime lens that is an f2.0 and also has image stabilization built in. So with this lens you will get an additional stop of image stabilization paired with the EOS R6 and R5 and 3. So yeah, this is an RF mount one, so it's native, and you also don't need an adapter, so that's nice. I've been playing around with this for a day now, and yeah, it's interesting, let's say the least. We're currently at 1/30th of the shutter speed, and then we're at f2.0 wide open, and right now we're at 25,600. Now, this is the same test that I've been doing with the rest of the lenses, so there's just a light in the background over here, and there's no other light in this room, so it's really low light, so you're looking at what you would run into if you just had, you know, wedding photography in low light or things like that, or if you're doing video in low light. So yeah, just testing out what this is doing, and it's quite interesting at, you know, with the focus. It looked like it was doing a really good job when I was in photo mode, and when we switched over it seemed to be a little bit more tough tracking my eye. Right now we just have it on the autofocus mode. That's it defaults to, so it's just the #1 option. But again, for each of these cameras you can cater it to what you're particularly interested in. Like if you want it to be extra sticky, or if you want it to move to a subject that's in the foreground. So let's try that again here. It's focused. And focused. Focused. And focused. So it's not doing too bad of a job here, and when it's switching back and forth to focusing, it's a lot quieter than it was when I was trying to use it in photo mode. So let's just hop out of the frame here. And focused. And focused. Focused. That's a little bit overexposed. Focused. And focused. 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 Echo, turn on dust light.
Okay.
Alright, so now I'm way overexposed. So we're at, let's see, 1600, what that looks like. Okay, so I think that's pretty good, and looking at the screen, it's tracking my eye pretty well, so we'll try testing it out now. Alright, we'll try that again here. Loses focus when I get pretty close to it, so. Yeah, I would say that's that's not gonna do. And I was trying to handhold this camera before, so like I said, with the extra step of image stabilization, in addition to the lens stabilization, you get an extra stop with IBIS in the R6, R3, and R5. So that's something that's really nice, and also something that is, you know, something that can help you in situations where you're trying to focus on things that are pretty far away and you're hand holding it and you don't have a tripod. And seeing what we can do stabilization wise with the in-body stabilization as well as the lens stabilization. So this one is a prime lens, and we're gonna go ahead and turn off the lens stabilization right now. Alright, so lens stabilization is now off. We're hand holding this thing, and I can definitely see the handshake in the screen. So we'll turn it back on real quick. Okay, we are back on. And yeah, you can see the differences between when you have lens stabilization and when you have no lens stabilization. With the image stabilization, it'll probably help you with recording B-roll in 60 frames per second. So that's something to note and something that would be good to have. And then you can also do the crop in if you need to go in a little bit further. And doing that with the 4K video probably shouldn't be any issues. So this lens isn't super large. It's, you know, and weight-wise, it's not too bad. I think you can definitely hold it in your hand for a very long time and not have many issues. And it's a prime too, so that's nice. And you don't have to really worry about zooming or anything like that. You just move in closer or move in further away. Yeah, this is an interesting lens because, you know, talking about the 70 to 200 millimeter lens that I was using before, it's an f4, but you get a lot more zoom. So I was taking pictures with this, so here are some of the stills, and they worked out pretty well. I think some were autofocus just because of my manually not changing the shutter speed quick enough. So just taking some pictures of the cats, and I think the images work really well. I don't see any really, I don't really see any issues with the focusing or anything like that. I think the output that it takes is really good as well. You get a lot of good depth of field, and you know, there's this one picture where I took with like waiting for my cat to come out, and I had it sort of framed up, and then I think I grabbed it a little bit too quickly or a little bit too late. And yeah, the picture still turned out great, and I got some of the elephants in the foreground with some of the color. So yeah, I mean, I think this lens works really well if you're in the Canon lineup, and if you're looking for something cheaper, this works really well, and it's definitely better than any of the kit lenses. So if you're looking at Canon, for example, I'd probably go with like a 16, the 16 f2.8, and which is a prime, and then I would go with the 50 millimeter f1.8 prime, and then probably this one, which is the 85 millimeter. So that gives you a lot of range, and I think it works out really well if you're looking at these three types, and you can just switch right off of them. And I think if you're using primes, which are a little bit easier to work with, in that, you know, I don't know, it really just depends who you are. If you're looking to get something that's like you switch it on and off, or if you're looking for an all-in-one situation. So it is nice for the 50 millimeter that you get the f1.8, and comparing that to this, I think you'd probably be a little bit sharper, and you probably get a little bit more more light to capture in it. So yeah, for this one, I mean, can you use this for sports and photography in that manner? I wouldn't say so. These are probably more for portraits. This is all on auto. And it's set to face detect. Like right now, like that's pretty slow, I feel like. There you go. It's hard for me to recommend something that has trouble autofocusing, especially with a system that's really good at autofocusing. Like the 70 to 200 was really good at autofocusing, and I'm not sure why this 85 isn't having a lot of, or is having a lot of issues autofocusing. I think this is a pretty good choice. I think it's definitely not going to be as good as the high-end ones, but being something like $600, like, I don't think you're really going to get like a better deal for it. You can also go with like a 70 to 200 if you're looking for zooming in a bit more. But yeah, for something like with B-roll and different things like that, I think this would be a really good option. Those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.